Welcome back to Cinema Corner. I'm Blake, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Alex and Josh.
And today we are reviewing From the World of John Wick, Ballerina, because that's officially the title for some reason.
Dumbass
Can't just
title.
be Ballerina because why not? This came out June 6th. So as of today, that was 5 days ago. Now, when it comes to box office for this film, a lot of people were saying that it's considered to be a bomb or a failure. But if you really break it down to like the domestic, at least the domestic box office of the previous John Wick films, it actually falls in line with Chapter 2. So Chapter 1, obviously that one had a 14 mil debut. Chapter 2 had 30. Right now, Ballerina is at 29.6. And then Chapter 3 and Chapter 4 were the ones that definitely got more money at 56 and 73 mil. So for a spinoff, honestly, that's not bad. I expected it to be worse just because, you know, films that are spin-offs, at least the first film in a spin-off series usually doesn't do that well. But, I mean, it's kind of on par with Chapter 2, which honestly is pretty decent for a rated R film.
Yeah, I mean, on top of the fact that The Continental was a spin-off TV show, I think on Peacock, and I'm pretty sure that one already has been canceled for season 2 and did not do very well. I mean, this one definitely was different, as the creators of the John Wick movies were way more heavily involved in this compared to The Continental, because I know that was an issue. So I kind of wondered the same thing if, you know, Ballerina was going to struggle a little bit just because we saw that spin-off series fail. But obviously, this one had way more support in terms of from the people who created John Wick, with Keanu Reeves having a cameo in this movie, as well as just being a part of the stunt work and everything like that with Ana de Armas. So I think that definitely helped this movie not be too... And, I mean, the title as well. I mean, them adding in From the World of John Wick was even extra, like, trying to probably help it. So I think those things did help. I would love if those box office numbers were even higher, and I hope it does succeed in the box office, as it does have a little bit of a gap here where hopefully it should kind of entertain its target audience, being, like you said, a rated R movie, cuts it out of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I hope box office wise it does good, because I definitely thought this was a fun spinoff as for a movie from John Wick world.
Josh?
Yeah, I mean, it was for me. I had the, oh shit, this thing's gonna be bombing, because for me, you know, in a summer, I did go on a Monday, so keep that in mind. But it was a summer Monday, and it was just me and 3 other people, so it was like, dude, what's going on? And that was in, you know, one of the best screens in America. I was a bit shocked by that, just a bit.
But, you know,
I mean, it's a Monday night. I mean, come on
Still,
now. I agree that you would think it has a little bit better, but
yeah.
It's a Monday night. Like, come on now. Opening weekend too, like.
Yeah, opening weekend though, with after the Monday.
Yeah, but opening weekend, you'd think the people who are super excited for it would have already seen it. So it's like the Monday after, like already those who are super excited have already seen it, and those who are going to hear from coworkers or other things to then see it the second weekend haven't heard as much about it yet or aren't as free. So, I mean, to me, it makes sense the Monday of opening weekend. Like I said, the hyped crowd already saw it, and those who are going to hear reviews and stuff haven't got those reviews yet or had time to plan that. So, I mean, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, I would say it's the same thing. It's Monday, so it's like... It's like, well...
Yeah, Monday after work, who wants to go out, you know? You go to work and you're like, man, this sucks, or whatever your sentiment is, I'm tired, whatever.
Just want to go home, rest,
right,
sleep, anything else, yeah.
So I think it makes sense. I will say, I thought that the younger Eve was a little bit too long into it. I think it took us a little bit to get to Ana de Armas's Eve age. I enjoyed the beginning character, the whole fight scene in the dad's house, I guess, compound, whatever you want to consider that scene was definitely dope. But I just think it would drag a little bit on after that, of Eve kind of, once Winston came to her, I was like, okay, and then we had the whole her going to the
director.
Yeah, what's her name's the Roma
Roma
Rauskas or something like that. I can't think of the exact name.
Ruska Roma.
You know, that part I was kind of a little bit like, okay, let's speed this up. And then, you know, once we finally got to Eve being Ana de Armas, I think the movie got a little bit better. I really enjoyed the whole training montage, I guess, in a way it was, of her spinning as a ballerina and then going into some of the training as well of kind of becoming, I don't remember what the exact word was that She was
Oh.
called, that was like some kind of like protector god kind of thing. I can't remember that name, but I enjoyed that training, getting to that point. Her first mission of that girl I thought was pretty solid. I think you definitely saw throughout this movie that she is younger and newer into this world, which I really appreciated. Like the whole point of John Wick being, you know, Baba Yaga and having his legendary thing is he's been in it for so long that I appreciated she struggled with her first mission and wasn't as that killer instinct of, obviously the John Wick movies are so well known for how well they do the stunt training and fighting as well as handling of firearms, and John Wick constantly, you know, shooting in the head, ideally 2 to the head. Like that whole process that John is so everybody loves the action for. I appreciated that this Eve has to work her way up to get to that, and it even
There's like a
builds,
rawness to it.
right? And like it builds up at the end fight. I really loved when John shows up and they get into a fight and he's just constantly beating her. Like, hey, like just walk away and then out. I love how they didn't just instantly. It shows John's character. Like that's why he has this thing around him. The first one of, I heard you hit my son. Well, he stole a car. Whose car? John Wick's. Oh, like just the buildup of John Wick, the Baba Yaga being this character. I think they did a good job of showing Eve has a while to get to that level. So I thought that was well done. The action was still really well done for, you know, what you expect from the world of John Wick. Like I said, I just appreciated that little John Wick cameo, how first off his fight with her, how quick he took care of her, as well as his other little fight scene of, you had that kind of funny people, the people like, oh, it's just one person, it's John Wick, and then he just murks them and everybody else with headshots. But yeah, I think the beginning dragged a little bit to get to the Ana de Armas Eve, but once we hit that, I thought this movie's pacing was solid. I enjoyed the missions we went on, her progression of getting better, her tattoo progression as well, I thought was cool. So yeah, I just thought overall this movie definitely, it still captured the John Wick essence you wanted, but also told a different story, which I really appreciated.
Yeah, I thought one thing about John Wick, I wouldn't even describe him as a cameo. I think he was a genuine just side character in this film, which was way more than I was expecting. I thought when we got the little scene on the stairwell where she was basically like, you know, talking to him and he's just like, you still have a choice. I was like, okay, that's it. That's all we're going to get. That's the screen time. We just got like a Marvel cameo from Doctor Strange, that type of beat going on. And then he came back and he actually got some actual action with him, of him escaping from kind of the stairs going down. I think the nice part about that is it showed the distinctive styles between him and how Eve was going through. There still was that kind of just rookiness even through towards the end of the film with how she was fighting, and also kind of just having that raw emotion because, you know, at that point her sister, she just found out her sister's alive, died again. And then the whole deal of trying to kill the Chancellor. So she's kind of also fighting angry. Well, you know, John's just there and he made a choice to not kill her. And now he just has to kill some fuckers. But yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you. Definitely went a little bit too long in the beginning, but I do love that montage. Even my girlfriend had the same thought of, she loved the montage of just building up Eve. And that was handled really well because it's kind of hard to, how do you make a side movie and still make somebody badass when you kind of already built up the badass in your own franchise with John Wick? So it's hard to do that and make them a main character.
Tainted his legacy in the last one, but it is what it is.
Oh, this is about Ballerina, okay, mister?
Yeah, agreed. I agree. I mean, personally, one thing I do kind of wish they would have expanded on is in that montage of her fighting the guy, and she was like, oh, he's stronger than me, and then the one leader of the training was like, fight like a girl, like that. I wish we would have seen more of that fighting in it as well. Like every now and then a fight, I would have loved to see her just knee someone right in the nuts or something like that as well to continue that. I do wish they kind of would have continued to merge that she is her own character and her own fighting style, and not just kind of force her to have the same typical action scene as, you know, a male character in that role probably would have. So that was something that I wish they would have continued, because like you said, that was I haven't been able to see, but like my girlfriend, she was like, I was excited for the Black Widow movie, and we finally got more of like a spy badass girl, and this is kind of the same aspect that you wish there would be a little bit more of, like, let's kind of lean a little bit more into that of, you know, letting the females fight a little bit different, the way that would, tip the scales in there rather than them just
Favor.
having to adapt to everybody else's fight style. You know what I mean?
I think
honestly they did a really good job. I mean,
yeah, they do.
They think about it. Keanu Reeves is what, 6'2", 6'3". I mean, I feel like he is. I feel like he's a pretty
Google.
tall guy. He's a pretty tall guy.
I would say John.
He's 6'1". He's
massive.
He's 6'1". Okay,
he's
but
5'10".
compare that. But compare that to Anna. She is 5'6".
First name
So
basis.
yeah, exactly. Okay, back to my point is that they did a good job in having a main lead whose stature is not obviously nowhere near John Wick, and then obviously canon in story, and obviously the actress is just not physically imposing, but in that training sequence they're like, yeah, they're never going to be stronger than fighting a guy. Most of the time you're going to be smaller and weaker, but you can use those weaknesses and turn them into actual like positives. Fight dirty. Use other ways to win the fight. Like at the end of the day, use what you got.
Yeah,
And
I feel like they
that
didn't lean
should be
quite into that as much as they should have or could have. I feel like it was
right. I mean, I feel like a lot
after
of
that it was pretty basic, what you would expect from any kind of mercenary assassin kind of thing. You know what I mean? I felt like they could have they did a good job in the montage, and then they got away from it. Doesn't take away from this movie. It was still good. That was just trying to find some negatives to talk about this movie. I wish they would have leaned into that a little bit more. But other than that, I mean, like I said, the dragging on in the beginning, wishing they would have leaned into it. Other than that, I don't have too much really, things to nitpick on this movie personally. Like, I thought the villain, the Chancellor whole storyline was interesting enough. It's a John Wick at the end of the day. It's in that world. I'm not going there for the story exactly. I'm going there for dope action. The story is secondary, and I thought they delivered with that. It wasn't boring. They stayed away with some of the issues they had towards the end of John Wick of things being a little too long or getting away from kind of what we're here for kind of thing. So I thought they did a good job of, keeping it pacing-wise that it's interesting. The action was good. There was dope scenes. The whole fire flamethrower at the end was fun. Her then bringing out the fire hose and fighting that scene was cool. I would have wished we saw her kill him rather than John taking him out. That part I thought was a little bit, they took that away from us. But overall, I mean, like I said, I don't have too much to really nitpick this movie on in terms of anything I didn't enjoy.
And I actually have this little tidbit. Flamethrower, all practical. No CGI, which you gotta love when it comes to these action films. And John Wick, like the franchise itself, they pride themselves on doing everything as practical as they can. Obviously, only using CG to just only enhance the fight sequences. And I'm glad that they continued that in this film. They did a really good job, and it was intense, dude. It was like I was telling Josh earlier. I don't know what they did in my theater, but they added some like rumble seats in the row behind me. That shit was fucking like booming in there. It was going crazy in there. So I was like, okay, it's fun.
It was
Fun
loud.
times.
It was loud for that scene. It was just, hey, you're paying attention. We did all the
Locked
stunt
in.
work for it. You're paying attention. Listen, I'll be the guy. I do got some nitpicking.
Shocker.
I got a little bit. Just a little bit. One, love the flamethrower scene. It was awesome. But what's up with like the double slow-mo shot? Didn't really care for that. And also when I was kind of at that part in the movie, listen, for me, that was the only time it kind of felt like the pacing to me was getting a bit like just a 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just a bit shorter. And it was just kind of some parts in those action fights, yes, they were cool, but then they were dragging on just a little too long. I didn't mind the little cheesy line of them being like, oh, he's John Wick, what is this? It's just fun. Okay, it's totally cool. But really I think kind of like the only like really, I guess, main gripe that I thought was just totally pointless. And I think also maybe added to why the pacing around to when we actually got to the campus, or at least town, you could say, was what was the point of the sister? Immediately dying. It was stupid, and it was like they didn't know what to do in that scene. And that was the only time the writing felt really bad. And it did not work at all. I know they had a little snippet in the very beginning of the movie with the dad talking about the sister. I get they're trying to go back to that, but man, dude, it just that was just it did not work. Not work at all.
Yeah. I was gonna say I really only have one nitpick, and that was the one. The whole sister plot I felt was just severely undercooked. It was like, oh yeah, we had like a little mention at the beginning, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, she's alive, and then she dies immediately after. I'm like, okay, well, then what was the whole point of this? Like, that mention was like an hour ago. You then bring her back. You're like, oh, she's my sister, only to die in like two fucking minutes. When he bombs them. I'm like, okay, well, I felt like that plot point was probably the biggest nitpick.
And it felt just a little cheesy too, with the Chancellor just like, yeah, fuck them, just kill them both. Yeah, I don't fucking care at all. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then they actually kills her. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely fair. I mean, I think you can also make the case if you want to about the whole Norman Reedus and
100%.
the girl. Again, that was another one that I was like, do we really need this? Like, I get we're trying to somewhat show of like her in the same situation and that kind of thing. Like, I can see, again, that being another one that people nitpick, but to me, it's like that stuff was small enough. It's a John Wick movie, in the world of John Wick. I can look over it. It was small enough. It didn't it wasn't too big of an issue. Like you said, it was weird. Like, oh, I'm your sister, blah, blah, and then she dies. I was like, I'm fine with that, honestly, rather than us trying to continue this and act like I care. Like,
right.
She's dead now. We can move on. Like, okay. So I can agree. I can see both of those being things that people kind of, didn't enjoy or felt that it added, made the runtime a little too long or whatever. Like, those are definitely fair critiques that people could have.
Yeah, Norman Reedus was definitely one that I didn't care for, but I get it was advancing kind of the plot. My thing is like, why is he alive at the end, and me being forced to see that too, dragging kind of the ending on. And also, I just got fatigued from seeing him. Need a break. Norman Reedus, yeah. I feel like I just see him all the time. Well,
what else is he in?
I mean, he had his own show.
Besides The Walking Dead.
And then as well as he was in Death Stranding, because he's the main character in that. And then I know.
That you don't play.
But for me, I think I'm just annoyed seeing him. And then he's going to be doing another game. I can't remember what it's announced, but he's the main character of that. And
yeah, Death Stranding 2.
No, it's something else. Not Death Stranding 2. But he is in that too. Either way, what can you just say? Jesus Christ, man, I'm tired of seeing the guy. He's not a good actor. He's ass. He's just rigid and just acts like a tough guy. That's it. He's not good at acting.
No, I mean, those are all
He's
fair.
cringy. So I'm tired of seeing him.
It's a bit strange to say you're tired of seeing a guy that you don't see often at all. I mean, you don't
play
like
that
video game, so it's
he's like a barely popular, just like loved actor.
Only because of Walking Dead, but nobody watches that anymore. He's not really in a lot of movies that you've watched. He's not like a Pedro Pascal or somebody who's showing up in everything. We're just saying it's a weird stance to have on a guy who you said's in a lot. Bad. He's not in anything you watch.
I know. I don't have friends that support me.
Get in line.
Okay, well.
No, that's why I don't support you.
I liked going back to the Continental and seeing Lance Reddick. That was cool. Just to see him again on screen, just getting the whole vibes back. Obviously, Winston. It's always dope to see him again. And I think the biggest positive that I could say about this movie is that it didn't change like the overall feel of it, and it did its job in expanding the world. We went to these other places that weren't really explored much in John Wick. We got this new like kind of organization kind of thing where they're like, yeah, new. They're only expanding on it. They're not like taking away from what was already established, and I can appreciate that. And again, the action was shot very similarly, despite it not being fully directed by like the same director as like the last John Wicks, although he was called in to like assist. But still, I mean, I would say in terms of a spinoff, they did their job. And then just like back to like the first part. I agree. It did kind of drag a little bit, but I think that they cast the young Eve really well, because at certain points I'm like, I could actually buy that this is like a young Ana de Armas. Like this looks uncanny at certain points. I'm like, okay, good job casting team, good job. And yeah, that whole fight in the dark in their mansion or compound, whatever, that was
Sick.
dope. Like right off rip, I was like, okay, we're right back into this universe. Love it.
Yeah,
Beautiful start to the movie. So
it was dope. I definitely
it was a
really
fun
enjoyed
time.
that. Also,
Definition of a fun popcorn movie.
am I the only one who thought when Eve was doing her final training and she walked in and she was gonna have to shoot somebody, thought that it was gonna be her friend Tatiana?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
definitely thought that too was about to come out, and then it was like, oh, a different agent, and I was like, oh, okay. But I 100% was like, oh, she's about to have to decide about shooting her friend Tatiana or not.
Yeah, I thought so too, but then I was like, oh, okay, well, they're clearly like setting things up for it's like, yeah, this is me or this is you 10 years from now.
Right.
So it's like, yikes.
Yeah, I mean, overall, definitely enjoyable. Hope this movie's numbers continue to go up, as I definitely think if they want to continue this world, I'm all for it in terms of giving Ballerina more movies. John Wick 5 definitely does not need to happen, but I'm fine with Ballerina kind of taking over that mantle in the world of John Wick. So is there any other closing thoughts before ratings?
Did its job.
It did its job. I agree. And I just love the way that this universe shoots its action. Like, I just love that there's not a lot of cuts. I love like the stunt work in it. I wish that it would continue on. Like you said, if it does continue on with Ballerina, I'm all for that for sure.
Agreed. We know Josh wouldn't be though. That being said, I think I am gonna rate this movie 6.5 out of 10 for me. Like we said, it was enjoyable for sure. There's definitely moments that I liked about it. But I mean, like I said, I do feel like there's some things that dragged on just a little bit too much, that I didn't entirely appreciate. So for the most part, it was enjoyable. So 6.5 feels pretty fair.
I'm pretty close to where you're at. I did a 6.2. So same reason. That was just solid action film, did its job. But I think if they ever did a sequel for it, I think they could do much better.
I guess I'm the highest rating. I'm at a 7.4. Oh yeah,
But
7.4.
that's spicy today.
Yeah. Whatever. You know. Yes.
Nah, Alex, enjoy it. You're loud.
No, you are. I agree with you. Well then, I think that's gonna do it for this video. Just real quick closing remarks. I just recently watched John Wick 4. That movie
God.
sucks so goddamn bad. It ruins the entire fucking franchise. It was so stupid. Don't make a John Wick 5, please. Please
Ref,
don't.
step in.
Leave him alone. Let it end.